Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach. Today I wanted to discuss what it takes to select a winning SuperCoach side. A successful one, that's what it's all about. It's pre-season. We're all gunning for the same goal at this stage of the year. We want to win the 50K. But more realistically, most of us are probably hoping to just win their league, beat their mates. So what does it take? Because I see a lot of different views and a lot of different ways people go about it. Basically, it's pretty simple in theory. There's two things. Picking a good starting side, and then it's trading well. I'm going to break it down a little bit more than that, but pretty much those two factors are what it's all about. And don't lose hope either. I know, real interesting stat. Last year's winner, after 5 rounds, was ranked somewhere near the 40,000 mark. And I remember hearing a couple of years back too that the eventual winner was outside the top 25K after the first month, something along those lines. And it's probably worth keeping that in mind. You know, most of us probably don't expect to win the 50K. But it is nice to think that maybe it could be me, because I've read the people that win it. They're not superheroes. They're not unbelievable wizards that study 48 hours and go nuts. It's just a little bit of luck on top with some good, hard study, getting that good team first off, and then trading well. I want to talk about the structure of things and getting that all right. I think obviously we want the premiums. We go the guns and rookies. Maybe we throw in a few mid prices. But if you want to break it down, you say, well, how many premiums do I need? I think you need to start with at least 11. 11 guys that you're starting with that you're confident you'll keep for the whole season unless they get injured. Now, breaking it down, that means, you know, you pretty much need to find another 11 premiums, and you basically will need to do double trades to attain those. So again, in theory, not every trade is even, but you'd like to think you could attain those premiums with double trades, meaning 22 trades are used and leaving you 8 extras for injury. That's a basic theory. Some people, you know, one downgrade might only get you 120K, and sometimes you got to reach a bit further. You might need 24 trades to get those extra 11 premiums, and some might not work out to be premiums. That's why it's so important to nail those premiums. A lot of people talk about, gee, who's going to break out? Who's going to make that jump? Or which young guys are the ones to get? The most important thing is to nail your premiums, because if you get a premium wrong, just ask my good friend Jake. He started Menengola instead of Tim Kelly, and he'll love me bringing this up. Last year, and it absolutely destroyed him. If you've got to recover a failing premium in that opening month when everyone else is attaining premiums, trading out guys, generating the cash, increasing their side's premiums, you don't want to be left trying to also do that, but also deal with this guy that you hope comes good. Gee whiz, maybe I got to ditch him now. So nail your premiums and have at least 11 of them. I think at the moment I've got 11. You could handle 10, but I'd rather you have 11, maybe 12. You know, if you go super hard, it's tough to go super hard with the premiums this year because it looks like our rookies are a bit underwhelming. So we don't want to expose too many on the ground. So therefore, you got to even it out across the ground with a few more mid prices, which tends to be the trend of 2020. Nail that structure, and the point being 11 premiums makes it easier to get to 22. Bit of leeway, whether those extra trades be used for luxury trades later in the year, and you're always going to cop injuries. You're always probably going to need to use anywhere from 3 to 6 or 7, hopefully no more than that. Otherwise, you've been pretty unlucky. Also, a point worth noting, don't reinvent the wheel. Often, and I've fallen in this trap, definitely a few years back, you'd go, how am I going to beat the rest of these people? You know, it's so tough. There's so much media coverage. They're all saying, pick this guy, pick that guy. I've got to do something different to get ahead of these blokes. You don't. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Trust me, I picked Dan Hanbury one year. I picked Josh Caddy. I picked Christian Salem. I picked Bont. Didn't work out for me. I picked Cochin. I've picked guys. Some of those are premiums that didn't come on. Unique premiums, unique breakout contenders that didn't work out. Yes, it can be good if you truly believe in a player It doesn't matter what their ownership is. If you truly believe that they're going to be a good pick, then pick them. But don't deliberately go seeking out someone over someone else because they're more unique. If you can't split two guys, okay, maybe you go the unique one. But the reason I say this, and it's a bit dull and a bit boring, but you see those vanilla sides that look like everyone else's side, they're probably the best sides. If you're looking at your team and you go, oh, it just looks like my mates, or it looks like every other one that I've seen in the forum, that's fine. That's okay, because at least if a selection that's popular falls, everyone falls on their sword. You don't lose any ground. Trust me, if you lose out on someone that's unique and everyone else they're flying, but you're falling by the wayside. And I know you might be saying, no, Shorty, my unique guy is good. He's going to put me in front of the pack. Yes, that can definitely happen, but more often than not, at least from my experience, I've found going unique just because they're unique or trying to jazz your side up just to be different, more often than not can hurt you. And the reason I say be boring, pick a basic team and work on it is because I have found that those risky players, you'll have your heart in the mouth. You're just praying that they deliver a good first 3 weeks, because if they don't, you've got this massive problem that no one else does except for 2% of the comp. I mean, right now, I think I've got a couple of players that are in 4 or 5% of teams, so that's fairly unique, but I genuinely believe in them. I think it's English, who's probably gone up in ownership, and I think Caleb Daniel as well. That's off the top of my head all I can think of, but the reason I say don't reinvent the wheel, pick a boring vanilla side, is because I have found that most people, anyone can pick a good side right now. You read enough online, you look at enough newspapers, you listen to blokes like me and other YouTubers, you can pick a good starting side. It's easy. Well, it should be easy. You can pick a reasonably good starting side. What I've seen more people stuff up and go wrong with is trading. They burn too many trades early. They get too excited and they trade to just get $90,000, or they lose faith in a guy that's going to come good. They sideways trade. Trading is where you will make your mark. And I'm sure that bloke who won last year, who was sitting outside 40K after 5 rounds, he made it back by trading. Obviously had a couple of things wrong with the starting side, or just had enough faith that they would come good, but you trade your way to success. And that's what I've found. I mean, if I'm self-reflecting, I haven't picked the best sides to start with over the journey. Like I mentioned a few of those guys before. I think 2017 and 2018, I fell just outside the top 10,000. And last year, I was about 2,000. So last year was a good year. Super competitive. I mean, to finish in the top 2K is bloody tough, let alone get inside the top 1,000. But trading is where you'll do it. You know, most people can pick that basic starter pack side. But if you can trade well, trade smart, trade efficiently, have an eye towards what your next 4 to 6 trades are. I harp on that all the time. Always be thinking not just your next trade. Don't just look at this week and go, Jesus, I just want this guy. I'm going to trade out a guy who hasn't fully peaked in his cash cycle, and I'm going to ditch this bloke who maybe in theory I should have more faith in. You know, trade hard early. Don't get me wrong, trade hard, but trade smart, trade efficient. Wait for those. I reckon normally once round 5 hits, you should go nuts, because that means most guys would have had 3 price rises, and some will rise quicker than others. But normally after round 5, round 6, a lot of cash cows are starting to peak or get close to it, and then we can really get going. That's when you can really get some double trades going and really upgrade your side. So in a nutshell, that's pretty much where I think you can do it. It's about nailing that starting side, or close enough. You don't have to nail it, as those couple of examples I've mentioned of past winners. You don't have to absolutely knock the socks off the first team, but you do have to trade really well and have a plan, have an idea of what you're doing. So I hope this video has been of interest. It's a bit of a general discussion one. I'm not claiming to be an absolute SuperCoach wizard, because I've only finished in the top 1,000 once ever. So it's pretty damn tough, and it's never been tougher with all the exposure that the SuperCoach content gets these days. But hopefully it's been of interest to you and maybe helps you. But certainly get on board to the rest of the content, because this last week leading into the season is going to be stacks. So I look forward to it. Cheers.